Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber First Revenge, and this is their build of Jeskai Stoneblade. Stoneforge Mystic is a card that has been making a resurgence, in some part to Cryptic Coat, a cool new equipment and self-contained card draw engine that can be tutored with Stoneforge. But Stoneforge Mystic was showing up in 5.0 decks a lot more often, even before Murder Zakarlov Manor came out. This format right now is largely about Ancient Tomb and Wasteland controlling Ancient Tomb, and being a deck with a ton of basic lands, largely immune to Wasteland, plus you have threats in your deck that are cheap and can contend with Ancient Tomb's threats. That's kind of a recipe for success. I could be convinced. I've played a few Stoneblade decks since Cryptic Coat came out, and this one leans pretty hard into the classics. We've got Jace the Mind Sculptor, which is something I mentioned last time I played Jeskai Stoneblade. At the end of the league, one of my big pieces of feedback on the list was there's no real engine. When your opponent lands up the beanstalk and you land Stoneforge Mystic, you're not really favored going long in that exchange, and you need something to catch up with that or control it. And Narset helps control beans. Jace can pull ahead of them. Jace obviously has a lot of risks in the Orcish Bowmaster format, but guess what? We can board it out if it's bad. Or we don't have to cast it, or we don't have to activate it. All optional. But this is the type of thing that a deck like this would want to jam on an empty board and just go nuts with. Another piece of tech that First Revenge is pretty high on is Back to Basics. We had a session where we talked about this deck before I came out here to play it, and my thought on Back to Basics is that you want one in the sideboard. I would personally be playing 2 Cryptic Coats and maybe another Narset or another Prismatic Ending over these 2 slots, if it were up to me entirely. But also, I might be playing like a coward and having Back to Basics in the main in relatively high numbers might be what I've been missing. I've been unimpressed by this card for a couple years now, especially since the printing of Boseiju. But I'm usually only playing 1, and it's usually in the sideboard, like I just said. What if there's 2 in the main? Maybe it's good enough then. This is a card I'm going to have my eye on here. I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying this is not how I've been playing it lately, and hopefully I'm wrong. I know my colleague Thraben Yu has been pretty high on Back to Basics in leagues lately. Let's see who's right about this. Back to Basics in the deck as a 2 of 8 basic lands, all in the main, 1 of each dual land. This is a very 2018, 2019 mana base, and I'm into it. Let's jump in. This is Jeskai Stoneblade.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 1 and immediately facing a difficult choice. There are 20 lands in this deck. One of them's in my hand. 53 cards in my deck. I'm somewhere between a third and a half likely to draw a land, and I have 2 shots at it. If I hit, my hand's insane. I don't mind spamming Stoneforges. If I miss, I lose. I'm gonna mulligan. Oh, well, Ponder and Brainstorm also count as hits here, so there's actually 27 hits out of 53 cards. 2 shots at... That actually weights the coin flip slightly in my favor. This is risky. I think if this wasn't Kaldra, I would keep this, but this already feels like a 6 because Kaldra's here, and if I cast 2 of these Stoneforges, I'll be out of things to tutor with the 3rd. Alright, the Kaldra was the tiebreaker. Mulligan that. Here we go. A much more reasonable looking hand. I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to send the Batterskull away. Just have my land, have my spells. A mountain is what they played. I'm going to play the Flooded Strand because I'm not sure if I'm going to want Stifle or Plow versus a mountain. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Well, I'm going to let this resolve, unfortunately. And I'm actually just going to go into my turn and plow it, leaving up my fetch land, and then I have the option of Stifle or Plow again. I could Stifle the loot trigger here. I'm not going to do that. I can also Stifle Chapter 3, and then the Fable just dies without making a reflection. I could Stifle an Initiative introduction here if that's what they're doing. I don't know, we'll see what happens. Some Goblins decks have been adopting the One Ring. That's really not something I want to play against here. They've got a Painter. Yeah, this is a little risky. If they have a Red Blast, I'm just going to untap. Spell Pierce now beats Red Blast. Plow this Painter. Spell Pierce, Red Blast. How'd we do? We did it. I'm going to Stifle the Fable trigger here. I'll get a Tundra. If they have Blood Moon, it's fine. They're not going to have Wasteland. Goblin Engineer. Teferi can tread water against this thing. They're down to 1 card in hand, but they are filling up their graveyard. They could drop a Dragon Engine here and start refilling. Yep, there it is. Jace the Mind Sculptor. This card is almost good here. Okay, I'm going to play Teferi. I'm going to bounce Goblin Engineer. Narset. Oh, that's almost good. The Phyrexian Dragon Engine's a lot worse with Narset around. We're so close to doing something here. Lightning Bolt. All right. I was kind of hoping they would just fire the Dragon Engine and clear that out so Jace could stick. They do get a second tutor with Goblin Engineer. Oh, we're the Devourer deck. All right. Agatha's Soul Cauldron's going to be in this deck, and they're going to have infinite outs. Outlets do go infinite, not infinite outs. What are my hits here if I play Narset? I'm interested in Force of Will and Swords to Plowshares primarily. I don't think Stoneforge does anything I need to do this turn. Island, Narset, leave up the Tundra. Ooh, they've been sitting on that for a while. Okay, well, now we're behind. They can flip their Great Furnace into a Dragon Engine and draw a bunch of cards. And if one of those cards is Agatha's Soul Cauldron, I guess they can't attack for lethal if they do that, because they won't have an attacker ready. But Agatha's Soul Cauldron threatens lethal next turn, exiles the Devourer, and then their creatures could get insanely large. Yeah, there's that. They're devouring the Soul Cauldron now. Their creature doesn't have haste. It can become insanely large. Ooh, that's a good draw. This is risky because I have to decide how I want to fight this. I think I want to play Stoneforge Mystic, leave up the white, and just pass the turn. If they have a Lightning Bolt, I lose here. I'm going to get Cryptic Coat because I'm not going to have time to do Batterskull stuff. If I don't plow this Dragon Engine now, they could flip it out of play, but they actually need to attack with Engineer on this board. Okay, they're exiling cards in their end step to Dragon Engine, but there's no creatures in the graveyard right now. So they can't actually give Goblin Engineer a +1 counter. Okay, they just exiled some number of cards from the top of their deck. This puts lethal on board. 3 cards in their hand. They're attacking with both. Let me read this thing. When a creature card is exiled this way, put a +1 counter on target creature you control. Okay. Currently, no creatures in graveyards, which means I'm going to block the Goblin Engineer because that can survive a turn. And then Stoneforge might actually do something. Plow this Dragon Engine. They can gain a large amount of life if they just want to exile their deck to this. I am just F6'd here. I wonder if they have a fling effect or if they just want some large amount of life. Okay, they've decided that 34 is enough life to stop at. Cool. Grindstone. Is your last card in hand, Painter? I'm going to lose my mind. Okay, Grindstone targeting yourself. Now there are creatures in the graveyard. All right. Another Stoneforge. This can block. They flipped an Engineer and a Welder. If I get Cauldra here, I'm actually just stable. Grab the Cauldra. This can block and first strike to death a Goblin Engineer of any size. I need to fade Painter Servant. Weird game. Okay, they channeled Sokinzon. That actually does kill me because now they have 3 attackers. Wow, that's good. Okay. Yep. I could beat any 2 of these things, but not 3 of them. I'll put in the Cauldra, and I'll make my blocks. What are the chances they don't have 17 mana value worth of cards left in their deck? I don't know. We're about to find out. Exiling Engineer. Yeah, Sokinzon was sick tech. Just suddenly 2 haste creatures. Well done. Let's see what's left in your deck. 5. Oh, Chaos Defiler. Yeah, I think they'll get there. Fury. Okay, yeah. All right, lots of 5-drops in this deck. Okay, just a little short. Very cool. Sideboard. I want Hydroblast, Blue Blast, Unlicensed Hearse, Meltdown. Dress Down is good against Urza's Saga and some of the stuff in their deck. Yeah, I guess I want Dress Down. I don't think I want Supreme Verdict. I'm not even sure I want the one that's already in my deck. They do have some Ancient Tombs and Urza's Sagas, but they also have a lot of Mountains and main deck Red Blasts. I'm going to chill on Back to Basics. I think I want to chill on Force of Will a bit too. Like, I'm playing to the board with all this stuff or have 1-for-1 interaction, and I know their deck has a bunch of Pyroblasts in it. And I'm going to cut the Supreme Verdict that is already here, bringing in 7 hyper-efficient cards that interact in the matchup in ways that are relevant. Surgical Extraction also has text for the matchup. I don't think there's anything else I want to cut, though. Jace is clunky versus the Red Blast that we know they play, but that's also an engine in the deck. You can't cut too many of those. A single land Brainstorm hand. I'll keep this and hope we don't just lose on the spot. There's some consideration in main phase brainstorming to play around Pyroblast. Goblin Welder. That's going to resolve. I'm actually just going to go to my turn before I brainstorm to give myself more chances to hit the land. Okay, we're not going to miss a land drop. I'd rather see a white land here, though. Tough beats. Put back Cryptic Coat and Narset. And I am going to Reb this Welder. Or Beb this Relder. Beb this Relder. That's how that's supposed to be said, for sure. Yep, Fable. Insane follow-up for that. Ponder gets to move my cards around. Looking for the white source here. Ponder. Uh-oh. Don't fail me, Ponder. Shuffle it up. White land. Okay. We could get Tundra with this. It's fine. Now I have to decide if I want to invest in Stoneforge Mystic or exile this Goblin Shaman. And they've shown me that they have a lot of messed up stuff at 5 mana. They've also showed me they could kill me with any creature at short notice, so I am going to remove the Goblin. Missing that land drop means I couldn't play Narset into the Fable Chapter 2, and they do get to use it. Discarded 1 mountain. Refable. Okay, well, I can Narset this one and hope that the 4 cards in their hand aren't Pyroblast. I could also Teferi, bounce the Goblin, let them loot, see what happens. All right, I'm going to try this Teferi. This one keeps cards going while answering the board. If they have Blue Blast or Pyroblast, they mess up whatever I do this turn. Okay, way behind against multiple engines here. I do have Snap Blue Blast available to at least stop the Fable this turn from untapping and going nuts. They kept all their cards. I'm so dead. Soul Cauldron. I don't like that card existing on the battlefield. Rhea's Apprentice. Holy smokes. Relentless. Spell Pierce. Not super useful. I'm 1 mana short of this card being useful. I have to Snap Blue Blast the Reflection because I'm never, ever beating that if they start making extra Rhea's Apprentices. Okay, that's gone. Whatever the last card in their hand is, they kept there. It might be the Devourer. If they just pay 6, play Devourer, sack Devourer to Rhea's Apprentice, they have 2 attackers and they win. Or they could not do any of that. That's fine. I'm going to trade with the Goblin. Oh, right. I'm not going to trade with the Goblin because it can be a 3/3. I'm going to block the Goblin. Yeah, this is the power of Ancient Tomb decks. I have way more cards in my hand than my opponent, 5 to their 1. But also, it doesn't matter because I'm just getting obliterated. I think I have to Narset here and try to find Meltdown and then hope I'm still alive by the time that matters. Hydroblast, I will accept here. Would I rather have Swords to Plowshares? I think I would. They can't Blue Blast a Swords to Plowshares, and I gotta get these Fables out of here. Okay. They're down to 1 card in hand. Soul Cauldron is still there, but there's no more... Or Snapcaster's still in the graveyard. So there is something to eat with it. They turn Treasure into Urza Saga. In Meltdown, Spot Removal. I'm dead if they draw the Phyrexian Devourer or Entomb Goblin. Chaos Defiler is going to defile my Narset. And I get hit for 4, and they make a treasure. Bray's Apprentice can turn that treasure into another card. Come on, deck. March of Otherworldly Light does answer Urza Saga, but this is the flip side of the heavy basic mana base. I have 4 mana. If I had dual lands in my deck, I could March the Goblin or the Saga, play Stoneforge, and hold up Spell Pierce, but I don't play those cards. Not in those numbers. Now I have to decide if getting Stoneforge into play is worth more than clearing the Saga. Chaos Defiler is Trample. That's so big. Alright, I guess I'll Stoneforge Mystic here. And their creatures have the abilities of Goblin Welder. I don't think that matters, though. I think that Cryptic Coat is still the get. That's something I can put into play next turn and march a 0. Alright, they're killing Stoneforge Mystic by sacking Chaos Defiler. They can exile my creature. They didn't use Soul Cauldron in the end step. They had a free +1 counter to distribute there, unless they're trying to play around Graveyard 8. You can attack me for 7 here. Just 1. Alright, they have Goblin Welder set up with Chaos Defiler. That's what's happening right now. Okay. Come on, Meltdown. Dress down. Batterskull's not what I was looking for. Yeah, I'm going to march this Goblin right out of town. I'm going to do this before I play any cards so they can't Chaos Defile them. Turning Treasure into Defiler. There's no targets for that right now. That's gone. Cryptic Coat can block a construct on my path to drawing Meltdown. Cloaked Cauldra. You love to see it. That's not in my deck anymore. 5/5. Apprentice sacked the Thopter, flipped Painter. And now I also just get Painter comboed right now. Okay. We're chill. I was not beating the fair plan, and then they also just backdoored Painter combo. This matchup, you can't fall behind on. The double Fable start into Bray's Apprentice, they just 3-for-1, 3-for-1, 3-for-1 to me. And it was also on a hand that needed some help getting its mana under it. I had to cantrip. I never missed a land drop, but I did have to use turn 2 to hit my 3rd land. Or I had to use turn 2 to cantrip into my 2nd land, then turn 3 to cantrip into my 3rd, so I'm actually off curve the whole game. While they're ahead of curve on Ancient Tomb, dropping the worst half of their deck. That was a bloodbath. On to the next round. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. I'm on the play for round 2, Island Ponder, baby. And I am going to ponder now. I'm just looking for spells. I have enough lands. This is a little awkward. I don't want land number 5. Spell Pierce might be too slow. Yeah, I just don't want land number 5. I'm going to shuffle this. Found another Ponder. The best possible. Keep them coming. Ponder Storm is 2. Island Delver, okay. I'm going to ponder before making my land drop. If they want to daze this, they can go ahead and be as crazy as they want with that. This is an insane ponder. This is what I was looking for. Just turn this 5-land hand into all gas. Ponder, Brainstorm, Stoneforge Mystic, stack it like that. I'll play Arid Mesa because I'm likely to fetch for basic planes. I'm not going to fetch now anyway. Lightning Bolt. Stoneforge Mystic is answered now. A second basic island. Look at this. What's going on with that? Yeah, that's super interesting. I'm going to play Flooded Strand and cast Brainstorm. I'm playing out the Flooded Strand in case they have Spell Pierce or some mess I have to worry about. Put back Valk and Mountain. I don't need those. And I am going to try to fetch here. This might be a Stifle deck. All right, we got away with that. I'm going to fetch again since the first one worked. Grab another basic island. And I'm going to pass here. I guess. I mean, they could just hardcast Daze. It doesn't even set the back of land. I could March of Otherworldly Light the Delver on their upkeep. I'm going to do that. I would like to spend some mana. And I'm going to do it in a spot where if they hardcast Daze, it costs them their turn. Cool. It just worked. Even better. Ponder. Probably looking for red mana to unlock whatever else is going on in this deck. Ponder chose to shuffle. They have another Delver and no land drop. Okay. Well, this back to basics. This is not the target we were looking for. Stoneforge Mystic's on the stack. It resolved. This is an interesting balance of things. I suspect they won't be able to answer this card. I'm going to take the Cauldra and just go for broke here. If they find a fetch land, I can stifle it. They would have to raw dog a red source here to answer the Stoneforge. Delver didn't flip. Wasteland, okay. We're going to see a True Name Nemesis? We are. Okay. Fun, fun. Can't interact with that right now. All right, the race is on. And this enters the battlefield ability is not a trigger. It's just a thing that happens. Ooh, B-Skull. Cauldra has Trample. I'm going to Ponder. I do like this Brainstorm. Yeah, I'm going to put Brainstorm in my hand because this back to basics is not a functional card right now. Put back to basics, and I don't need this many lands. I don't mind having 2 weapons in my hand, though, for Stoneforge to do stuff with. I'm going to fetch another basic Plains, and I'm going to plow Delver. I'm playing around Daze here with all of my things. And let's put this Cauldra in. The race is on. I did tap out of Stifle for the turn. Hopefully that doesn't matter. They take 4. All right, let's go. I would think this was mono blue if we didn't see the bolt flipped. Channeler. Okay. Do they want to start getting in for 3? They do. All right. They'd rather bash than absorb 1 point every turn. Probably correct. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm 1 short of putting in Batterskull and equipping it to Cauldra right away. I'm going to attack with my 5/5. I could play Jace and just bounce the DRC with the intention of making them use their turn. I'd have to fetch Tundra to do that unless I fetch first. Then I'm at 10, 3, 6, 9. So they're pretty far from Delirium. And if Jace resolves, I haven't seen double bolt. Oh, wait, if I fetch, I'm in exactly bolt range. Okay, I am going to play this Jace and see if this resolves. I can just leave up white to bounce the Channeler. And I am going to fetch now before they can bolt my Stoneforge in response to the fetch. Just want to get this Batterskull in. Now we see if they go face or if they clear Jace. Still going face. They've correctly recognized that they're not going to win a game where they're not clocking me. Well, I'm at 3. Do you have land bolt? Hopefully this lifelink does what it needs to. Fingers crossed, no Brazen Borrower. Or if you do have it, time it wrong. Here I'm just going to brainstorm with Jace first. Oh, I drew a Force of Will. Shouldn't matter now, but I'm going to brainstorm with Jace first. The plan was to find Force of Will in case they did have Brazen Borrower in their hand. Teferi just, I think, checkmates it. Oh no, because if I cast Teferi, then I don't have mana to re-equip. But yeah, Teferi, all right. Cool. We beat a Delver deck that appears to be basic heavy. Supreme Verdict comes in. I like Pyro and Hydroblast. Have to imagine Murktide Regent's in this deck somewhere. And they at least have Dragon's Rage Channeler that Graveyard Hate matters. So arrange this in a coherent way. Dress Down is effective versus True Name Nemesis, but probably not anything else in their deck. I don't think I want any Force of Wills, even though it was relevant on that final turn. And I saw a lot of basics. I'm going to leave in 1 back to basics because they got to have red sources in there somewhere. But if a game like that, where Back to Basics was in my hand and castable and just ineffective, I'm going to do it like this. This is tricky, but I am going to keep it. I'm going to have faith in my deck to provide lands. This is the old Island Ponder, but the island has to be non-basic. Or I could Plains Plow and hope to find a blue source. If I just draw an island here, we're cool. Island? Yeah! I do play a lot of those. And I'm going to Ponder before I start casting removal spells. Definitely don't want Jace. Do I want Prismatic Ending and Stoneforge Mystic, or do I just want to shuffle for lands? My hand already doesn't a lot. I just want lands. I'm going to shuffle this. I'm not hurting for action. Ponder's on the stack for them. Milled a Lightning Bolt. That's 3 card types. They barely even had a card in their graveyard the whole last game, so this is already different. Another Channeler. They're bringing their beats. 4 cards in hand. There's Jace anyway, Motobug. I'm actually going to take this opportunity to brainstorm when they can't Pyroblast it, because my hand is pretty bad if I don't find more lands quickly. All right, Jace can go. I want Supreme Verdict. Plow and Hydroblast are both good. I'm going to put back Jace and March. And now I have to decide if I want to Plow this. I don't think that I do. Not yet. I could Plow plus Hydroblast next turn. I don't want Daze to see 2 cards and turn their 2 damage into 6. Also, if they somehow just don't find Delirium, I'm not that far away from Supreme Verdict. Okay, they found Delirium. Now I'm going to fire a Plow before they brainstorm. Now that they're 3/3s anyway, let's just take a shot at it. Daze confirmed. That's all right. Milled another land and kept a card. Can't pay for this. Just played a land that wasn't the one they picked up. That one might very well be on top of the deck right now. Moments where Daze is card advantage. This looks like a Murktide. Can they Murktide without losing Delirium? They did not Murktide without losing Delirium. They went full size on that thing. I could try to slam Teferi and once again lose to Daze. I could Ponder looking for Swords to Plowshares and still Hydroblast if I miss. I'm going to do that. I have the Supreme Verdict next turn. Sick. All right. Swords to Plowshares in my hand. Plow the Merc. Force of Will is what they would need to keep this thing alive. Plowing first to play around Daze with the more important spell. Force of Negation. Just exile to Daze. Milled a True Name. Milled a land. Hope their last card in hand is not also Daze here. 7, 8, 9, 10 puts me to 2. Fetch to 1. All right, I'm gonna try to hold out for Supreme Verdict here. This is now Delirium. Guess I'll kill a Dragon's Rage Channeler and hope that they don't find a Lightning Bolt here. Been to Daze, been to Brainstorm. They really are just shredding for Bolt right now. The problem is if I take 10 here, which I'm going to, they could draw Bolt anytime. It doesn't have to be this turn. I'd love if they just play out a Delver. Just add to the board. Put a creature into play. Nope, that's not the one. All right. Just a little off. I think we win this game on the play, just drawing all the same spells, but they came out fast and kept me off balance just long enough. I think if I play around that Daze and can Plow twice and just take the 6. Yep. You calculate one time that it wouldn't be too bad to get dazed, and then you lose. Play around Daze, folks. A no-lander. Mulligan. This one technically has lands in it. I'm going to keep and bottom Jace. And I'm in the market for basic Plains sooner than later. Vista gets an island. There's a Plains and another Plow right there. Perfect. Okay. This is a game we can make sense out of. Channeler. Bobble right away. Getting some value. They kept the card. They saw Swords to Plowshares. Jace is on top of, or Teferi's on top of my deck, and I do like that card, but I have a 3-drop I can cast. I'm going to Plow this DRC, take the pressure off. And that used the card that they saw, but they don't know I have another one. Bobble. I'm not going to Spell Pierce that. We can do better. Bobble, fetch, counterbalance. I'll Spell Pierce that. Yikes. All right, that was a good Spell Pierce. That also makes me think they don't have Daze, because that would have been a really messed up card to protect. Let's see. They also drew a card since that happened. Their top card might have been Daze, but let's hope it wasn't. Force of Negation, pitching Brainstorm. All right. The read was correct that they didn't have Daze. Tapped Mystic Sanctuary. Unlicensed Hearse. Fascinating. Did I show them any reason to put that card in the deck? Oh, did they see Snapcaster? I guess I did cast that. Okay. I'm going to cast a Fairy. I'm just going to bounce the Hearse. Make them replay it. I don't want this to get Pyroblasted and then it's gone. I'll at least draw a card if they have Lightning Bolt. And maybe I'll draw a Hydroblast here. Brainstorm. Don't want to do that. I've already made my land drop. 4 cards in hand. One of them's Unlicensed Hearse. DRC. Hearse gets a Surveil trigger. Dump to Daze. Looks like we're getting a turn with Teferi in play. Big deal. Red Blast. My whole hand is pretty good right now. I could brainstorm looking for something like Stoneforge Mystic, or I could just enjoy that I can pick off their stuff and have a Planeswalker in play, and I can deal with Murktide Regent if they have one of those. Yeah, I'm not going to brainstorm here. Interesting that they're leaving the spells in my graveyard. It's like they're daring me to cast Snapcaster Mage, kind of. Not going to Red Blast the Brainstorm. I'm not pressuring them at all. This is not the squeeze point I'm looking for. I kind of want them to play a Murktide so I can kill that. Yep, perfect. There's Murktide. And Unlicensed Hearse. Oh, right, I was supposed to counter that. God damn it, me. That was so bad. Yeah, if I counter that, they can't crew the Hearse. Now I lose to Fairy. That was so shitty. I could brainstorm here, and if I spike Snapcaster, I can block. All right. I am going to try to compensate for my failures. All right. I don't deserve this, but I'm taking it. Snapcaster, trade with the Unlicensed Hearse. The hilarious twist. I think Teferi is just really good here, especially since I'm about to add Jace to the board too. If I just counter that, I stick Jace next turn and can never lose. Whoops. Plus Teferi, Jace bounce Murktide. They got 1 card in hand. I think if they had a Pyroblast or a Lightning Bolt, it would have killed this Teferi by now. I'm drawing Supreme Verdict, which I can't cast at this moment. Ponder, shit, that was a good find. It's a lot of looks at and out to Jace. If I untap with Jace, I'll feel pretty good. Which isn't always true in this format right now, but it is true in this game right now. They did not shuffle. That's bad news. Red man in the pool, see a Jace. And they can Murktide for Xaxes here. Okay. Now I have a choice. I can Teferi this thing and draw a card. I'm just going to plus Teferi and Red Blast it on their turn, though. I want to see them make some decisions thinking that they have a Murktide, or at least just go to combat. Red Blast the Murktide. Ponder. Okay, if they find another Pyroblast now, we're back to stability, and I don't really like what's going on. They chose to shuffle. Any creature they couldn't put into play, I could just bounce. Brainstorm, lots of cards coming. It's a great time for me to find a Stoneforge Mystic, or for them to just whiff somehow. Okay. They didn't do anything. Hey, there's that boy. Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's why you play 2. Plus, target my opponent. Targeting me gives me some card selection. Alright, I'm not going to put Daze on top of the deck. Or on the bottom of the deck. Targeting me gives me some card selection, but I would like them to burn this fetch land, which they may have been doing anyway, but if they did hide a card on top or something, like, you want Jace to be at 5 against Lightning Bolt. It has to be Pyroblast here. They kept a card on top. Spooky. Well, Unholy Heat. Wow, they do have Delirium. Okay, yeah, that card works too. Sure, okay. That's 2 Jaces down. We're out of those. Can I get a Stoneforge? Well, I can at least get a Supreme Verdict. I'm going to minus Teferi while he's still alive. And maybe this will lure them into playing a creature. Delver's in play now. Play another creature. Murktide, Murktide, Murktide. Nice. Alright, it is a Murktide. I can plus Teferi, see if Delver reveals any more information for me, and then Supreme Verdict their whole business. I'm not going to play land number 6. Do I play land number 6? It's bad if I draw Brainstorm, because I'd rather Brainstorm this away. But if I draw Cauldra, I am going to play land number 6. Does Delver flip? Revealing Pyroblast, give me a break. Alright, fine. Well, at least Teferi drew his card while he could. We're both going to be basically top decking and Hellbent on empty boards here. They're going to try to attack Teferi first, see if they can save their Pyroblast for a real spell. Turns out they cannot. But we're back to parity. My Jaces are gone. Narset's a good draw. Stoneforge is a good draw. Okay. Hellbent versus not great. Come on now. Stoneforge, Mystic. And I'm just going to get Cauldra. That's the best one. It kills the fastest. They're in top deck mode. Let's get them. I'm one land away from casting it, even if they kill Stoneforge, because I made that land drop. They found a Ponder. They've been doing a really good job finding cantrips on turns where they need to make something happen. Did not shuffle. And Lightning Bolt. Okay. I do have 6 lands in play. Did that investment pay out? Would be pretty okay drawing a land here. Another Stoneforge I'm not going to complain about either. We'll get Batterskull this time. It's the last thing, because my Cryptic Coat's in exile. And they've had enough. They know what their next 2 cards are from that Ponder, and they're not going to beat Cauldra. Wow, that was really satisfying. That actually felt like a game you could have played at Grand Prix Niagara Falls in 2018 or 2019, whenever that happened. Classic. On to the next one. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus. 2nd through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bizarre Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. On the draw in round 3, I've got the Arid Mesa and a Plow. This is that hand again, and once again, Caudra's in it, which is going to be my tiebreaker. Though, again, this hand is pretty good if I draw an island right away, but I'm not going to gamble that with the Cauldra in it. Here we go. Force blue card, 3 lands, and back to basics. First showing of that one. The good news is it pitches to Force if it's not a matchup for that. The bad news is I have to decide right now if I want to try to let the deck draw me a 3rd land or get rid of Supreme Verdict. If I bottom Verdict, I risk flooding out. If I bottom land, I risk missing on turn 3, where Narset with Force backup actually plays. I'm going to bottom the Verdict. That's just a decision based on your aversion to risk or not. And in these blue-white Island Ponder Keep decks, I don't like taking risks with my lands if I don't have to. Because as we saw, many of our losses so far are because we have all the spells we need in our hand, but we can't cast them. Taiga, Lion's Eye Diamond, alright. Gamble. No gamble, no future. Here we go. Hopefully they just send in Echo Vions and I can force it and we can chill for the rest of the game. Oh, they might get that stupid dragon. Oh, we're Vengevine. Well, that's so much worse. Angie's Ravager. Well, I have to force Angie's Ravager, but they do get to cast it. Yikes. Alright, well, if I knew this was this deck, I would have forced probably the Lion's Eye Diamond. Oh, there's 2 Vengevines. Jesus, we're so dead. Okay, we're in trouble. Yeah, I thought this was some kind of Storm deck, just taking an aggressive line on the play, but we are in trouble if we don't draw Swords of Plowshares into Stoneforge Mystic in that order. Brainstorm, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, literally dead. All right, cool. Well, sometimes you have 2 Vengevines in your opening hand. Surgicals are good against Vengevine, but not that good against the rest of the deck in general. Damping Sphere is interesting against them because they are trying to set up big turns where they cast multiple things. Once again, back to basics is just too slow for this matchup. Even if their lands are non-basics, it won't matter because we're dead on turn 2. Supreme Verdict, Surgical Extraction. Lavinia bricks the Brute Wallas, but they can still cast them. It also bricks Lion's Eye Diamond, which might be too slow to try to fight on that axis. I don't think this matchup is that bad. We just need to know what it is so we can appropriately plan for it. And that last hand was not the right plan. It currently back to basics out and 5 cards in. Teferi shuts off their whole deck because Madness doesn't work with Teferi in play. Snapcaster's a nice 2-for-1. Stifle. You can stifle a Madness trigger and then they don't get to even cast the creature. Spell Pierce actually seems pretty bad. Could also shave a Force of Will. Now I have some Surgicals in that could help some of that a little bit. All right, I'm going in like this. This is a deck I haven't seen in a long time. I wonder if their list has Poxwalkers in it, because that is a new card that fits into this strategy. Madness is a spell cast from somewhere other than your hand that triggers Poxwalkers. This Stoneforge Mystic with Surgical Protection, I'm not going to get clowned by Vengevine this game. And Stoneforge Mystic puts a real body into play on as early as turn 3. Teferi shuts off their whole business. This is a hand I can vibe with. Opponent kept 7. Hate when that happens. Once Upon a Time resolves. Found a Blazing Rootwalla. Mountain, Faithless Looting. Okay, can't counter that. Hopefully we'll see 2 Vengevines hit the graveyard. Poxwalkers. All right, this is what they were going for. I'm going to exile the Poxwalkers. It's about to trigger off of the thing, the Madness. Let's get a look at this deck. I'm going to remember to take a screenshot this time. We've got Angie's Ravagers, Fire Temper Vengevine in otherwise blank of a hand. We're going to have to beat a Blazing Rootwalla and hope they don't draw another Faithless Looting to kill my Stoneforge this turn. Putrid Imp, Ox of Agonis. Okay. Alrighty. Well, let's do it. I'll draw for turn with the intention of going Island Stoneforge. These Teferis are really good. This is the turn where they need to do something big. And I'm going to get Batterskull. I think the lifelink is more important than the size in this matchup. Moment of truth. Please don't cast Faithless Looting. Here's Badlands. I'm not going to block when they attack. No thank you. Putrid Imp. Okay, that can set up Vengevine stuff in the future. Oh, it sets up the Fire Temper now as well. All right, well, Teferi, you're up, buddy. Yeah, that is a discard outlet, isn't it? Okie dokie. I could Teferi and Plus, which will at least make sure Vengevine doesn't come into play next turn. They could just cast it on the turn after that. I think I have to do better here. I think I have to ponder. If I play Teferi and bounce Putrid Imp, I do at least draw a card, but then Teferi dies in combat. But then if they second main Madness some stuff, at least Vengevine is second main. But they could discard Vengevine in response to Teferi bouncing it, then just play Imp and play a Rootwalla they draw. I'm going to ponder. Unlicensed Hearse, Swords to Plowshares. All right, I'll take the Hearse with the promise of Plow next turn. Don't shuffle. Play the red land I don't care about. Unlicensed Hearse. Keep that Teferi or that Vengevine off my back. Sucks they have so many lands they could just cast it though. That does change things a bit. But I'll have Swords to Plowshares next turn. Did we draw Angie's Ravager too? Oh, Flashback Faithless Looting. That works. Yeah, that's fine. Go for it. I was not going to exile the Faithless Looting proactively with Hearse just to fight over, which would risk a Vengevine coming into play. All right, they're going the Rootwalla Dingus route here. That Faithless Looting was functionally draw 2 cards. They don't have Threshold. They're never gonna. Exile Fiery Temper and Once Upon a Time, I guess. They've already cast 2 creatures this turn. Even if their hand was 2 more Rootwallas, they could not play Vengevine. And now I can play Teferi, take some of this pressure off, hold up Swords to Plowshares. I'm not that worried about the graveyard. I think I delete the Putrid Imp. Well, the Rootwallas can pump. The Imp mostly can't, but the Imp can replay the Rootwallas for freezies once Teferi's gone. I think Blazing Rootwalla actually hits me the hardest. Okay. I think with Unlicensed Hearse holding the fort, I can afford to bounce a creature that can be cast for free. And if they don't commit hard enough to attack a Teferi, Swords of Plowshares can keep him alive. Or if they just slam Vengevine this turn. I got a lot going on here. Making big moves. Here's Vengevine. They are attacking Teferi with 2 1/1s. I'm going to plow the Vengevine, as promised. Their hand is a Rootwalla and 3 unknowns currently. Teferi's gone, but I got more where that came from. Exile some stuff from your graveyard. Stoneforge Mystic, I like you. You set up Batterskull for next turn. I could Brainstorm first, but I kind of like all the cards in my hand. I could do the Brainstorm, put away Batterskull, research Batterskull thing. Yeah, that actually seems great here. I'm going to Brainstorm. I'd love to find a Plow or something additional to do with my mana. Snapcaster Mage is a Plow. Maybe that's a better place to go here, and I can save the Stoneforge. Put back Batterskull into Teferi. Or I could cast Batterskull next turn. Put back Teferi, Batterskull. I think it's Batterskull Teferi still. Play my land. I could ponder, but I don't think I need to, and I like the cards in my hand, and I like the cards on top of my deck. Here's the Blazing Root Walla from their hand that we knew about. Doing into the end step's probably a good sign. It means they don't have a Vengevine in their hand, or they can't get through Unlicensed Hearse, one or the other. Scalding Tarn, that's not the Wooded Foothills I knew about. Cool. Alright, free information. They have a Wooded Foothills in their hand. I'm going to play Snapcaster. I'm going to target Swords to Plowshares. I'm going to block a Blazing Root Walla. And then plow Basking Root Walla, I think. So they're blazing with this one. Basking is 3/3. Okay, I'll let that pump resolve. See if they pump the Basking Root Walla. Okay, yep, plow that now. Trying to save as much damage as I can. Snapcaster could have crewed Hearse for a 4/4 blocker, but I think I'd rather just make sure nothing goes awry at this point. Exile the rest of your graveyard. And now I can Teferi, bounce Putrid Imp, play Stoneforge Mystic. Teferi, bounce the Imp. This Stoneforge can trade with Blazing Root Walla. I draw the Batterskull here and then can tutor for Cryptic Coat. Or I can just let Teferi die and then play Cryptic Coat and Batterskull next turn. That sounds pretty good. I will not block if they attack Teferi. I still have Hearse controlling some of the scariest stuff. There's no Poxwalkers left in the deck. All right, we're slamming a Vengevine. That resolves. Are we going to make sure Teferi's dead, or what's going on here? What's the plan? Going face with that one, and Teferi with the Blazing Root Walla. Yeah, I still think Batterskull plus Cryptic Coat is worth going to 5/4. This is their second creature for the turn. End step, Unlicensed Hearse, exile your Scalding Tarn. Just getting everything. I can afford to ponder here and still do everything else I wanted to do. Swords to Plowshares, let's put that in my hand. And then Cryptic Coat can cloak a irrelevant land from the top of my deck. I can drop Batterskull in combat. The cloaked creature can crew Unlicensed Hearse if they try to do anything tricky. The scariest thing they could have here is artifact removal. Gamble. Alright, well, here goes that. This could play an Angie's Ravager. They gambled a gamble into the graveyard. That's not what they were going for. Oh god, do they have double Fiery Temper right now? That would be pretty strong. I would crew my Unlicensed Hearse and plow it, if that's what's going on. Okay, they're going to gamble for another Fiery Temper. I'll let them put it on the stack, and then I'll gain 8. That was a cool line. Okay, Unlicensed Hearse, exile 2 cards from a graveyard, Fire Temper, and one of the gambles. Gonna crew, and then gain 9, actually, not even 8. Cool. All right, I'll gain 9. Switch me to 8. 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, I do have to block. I'm going to trade with Blazing Root Walla and then cast Batterskull on my turn. We got a nice in the chat. Yeah, I did think that line was pretty nice. Had to find it. Your line was very nice too. I'll trade with Root Walla. I take some beats. If they draw another Fiery Temper, I am exactly dead to it. In the meantime, I'm drawing a fetch land and playing Batterskull. The Putrid Imp can get flying, but that's only going to push for 1 turn. And I'm not attacking with my cloaked creature. Moment of truth. Please don't draw Fiery Temper. I'm even okay with them drawing Vengevine. I can handle a haste 4/3. I can't deal with a burn spell. They've moved into combat. Vengevine is attacking. I'm going to block. I can re-equip onto my unblockable creature if they were just trying to clear my 4/3 because it was going to be rumbling anyway. That makes some sense. I'll play this Flooded Strand and equip Batterskull. Luckily, Ward doesn't apply to me, only enemies. Now I have an unblockable lifelink 7-power monster. Okay, I successfully connected with that once, which should be enough to at least take the pressure off of their Insanest top decks. I can just eat Vengevines for freezies now. I can pick up Cryptic Coat, redeploy it, and still have a giant creature in play. Gamble. Oh, we faded that last turn. That would have killed us if there's another Fiery Temper in the deck. They gambled for a Rootwalla. I assume Vengevite's coming back this turn somehow. Angie's Ravagers probably, or Oxyvagonus or Angie's Ravager, I imagine, are the two things you're looking for in this spot as the Hellbent, Gruul, or Jund player. They moved into combat without playing a second creature. That's curious. Thought for sure we'd be seeing Vengevine this turn. Not that it affects the combat of this board, but I thought we'd at least see it. I'm going to fetch in the end step and pick up Cryptic Coat. They might have... Oh, if they gambled for... I'm not going to pick up Cryptic Coat. If they gambled for Ancient Grudge, I'm not going to play into that right now. I'm just going to go to my turn. And both of my weapons can bounce themselves now that my mana's up. If they were Hellbent, I would have picked up Cryptic Coat there, but they do have a powerful card that is likely to be in their deck. Beseiju. Yeah, okay. We played around it. Pick up the Batterskull, and then I can just replay it. Okay, yeah, they should have done that in the end step when I only had 2 mana and couldn't pick this up. I respect that that was an honest gamble, too. They were just like, yeah, half the time I discard Beseiju and my hand is Rootwalla. The other half of the time, we could challenge the Batterskull. Cool. Yeah, that was a really cool game. Their Fire Temper line was really tight. The Swords of the Plowshares, the 9-power creature line was tight as well. I think they did mess up a little on that end step Batterskull that I couldn't have defended. Okay. Well, if the game's going to get that grindy, maybe Back to Basics is tempting, but now we have also confirmed Beseiju's a card in their deck. Maybe one Back to Basics. What am I cutting for that, though? I feel like I've already cut all the cards I don't want in my deck. Jace is pretty important to pull ahead in those grindy mid-games where we both end up without much going on. I don't think I could cut a land. I don't think this warrants playing 61, which is something I have done before. If there are cards I want in my deck, but not cards I want to cut. Yeah, I'm just gonna bet that if they have 6 lands in play, I'm favored. This hand is slow, and they kept 7. I do like the Stoneforge. I like the Prismatic ending. I'm worried about getting my skull back, or getting my my Vine Venged. I'm keeping. Let's party. Please don't not draw me. Faithless Looting. There it is. 2 Rootwallas. Okay. No Vengevines. No Poxwalkers. Just 2 little buddies. That's okay. That gives me a turn to rip a Surgical or something that would help if they do go a little harder. I didn't see a Wasteland in their deck, but it could conceivably be in there. I'm going to just exile one of these Rootwallas before I take 6 next turn. Exile a Rootwalla, play Stoneforge, just tap out, hope my deck's better than theirs. Bad lands. No game actions at all pre-combat. That means no Vengevines. Taking my 3. Glad it's not 6. And they passed. Let's go. Force of Will can protect the Stoneforge, and I'm going to tutor for something that's not Batterskull, because that one's already in my hand. I'm going to get Kaldra. I don't think I need to get Cryptic Coated here. With the Force of Will backup, I can just start dropping the bangers. And now that we've seen Beseiju in the deck, it's also not that bad to just put Kaldra on defense. Nothing in their deck can attack through it, except a flying Putrid Imp. Speaking of the Putrid Imp, this card could generate Vengevines. It could also turn on Fiery Temper. I'm actually going to force this, pitching Jace. This card punches way above its weight class and facilitates the dumbest stuff in the deck. Gamble. They gambled away a Poxwalkers. That's good. Oh, that's bad. Okay, shit. If they just gambled for a Fire Temper, which they did, and their last card was Angie's Ravager, yikes. The scary thing about this, though, is that I don't regret the decision to go after the Putrid Imp because it sets all this up anyway. Like, this is the same thing. What I needed, I guess, was for Gamble to miss on Lion's Eye Diamond. But they're way ahead now, where a second ago I was feeling good. But this possibility is why I kept Brainstorm in my hand instead of Jace. Now I can actually see more cards and try to make a game out of this. Come on, Brainstorm, save me. 2 plows. Stifle, you fucker. I don't need that. Caldra's back in the deck, and I guess stifling Angie's Ravager isn't the worst thing I could do. Caldra's going away. Surgical might still matter if I draw Supreme Verdict. Alright, it's Kaldra and Batterskull are going away. And then I'm going to fetch. Yeah, I just have to ponder for a Swords to Plowshares here. I don't even get to hold up Stifle. Ponder, come on, plow. Plow, plow, plow. Yeah, plow. All right. Swords to Plowshares will at least answer Angie's Ravager before they refill their hand. And then I take 5, draw another Ponder, and try to stabilize. High Octane Magic. Opponent couldn't just shut up and die, which is what I needed from them. Oh, they didn't pump Rootwalla. That sucks. That means they have another 3-drop to cast, a Walker's or a Ravager. Oh, okay, a Looting from the graveyard. That's whatever. Ended up with an extra Rootwalla. That's so much better than one of the other 3-drops they could have cast. Drawing Ponder. I'm not going to do anything before I cast the Ponder. No land. Come on, removal. Alright. Shuffling this Ponder gives me 3 drops as outs, like Cryptic Coat. If I keep this Ponder, I do get to see a 3rd card. I get to see 1 more card with 1 less mana, is the calculation here. I'm just going to shuffle this Ponder. Shuffle. To fairies here suddenly. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, all of these things attack for 3. I'm going to play Teferi. And I think I should bounce Poxwalkers. And these are all good from their hand. And the Rootwall is they have to spend mana to do the damage. All right, I'm going to bounce just the biggest creature. All right, Clinging to Life. I'm at 1 on the board. If they could find 1 damage, they win. If they don't find 1 damage, they can either put me to 1 or clear my Planeswalker and put me to 4. They're just going face. Face is the place. Rootwallas, rootin'. Can I draw my Supreme Verdict? Let's go right now. Supreme Verdict. Volcanic Island. I could still Supreme Verdict this turn. Ponder. Swords to Plowshares, Brainstorm. I will take these. Do not shuffle the deck. Oh, I'm at 1. Shit. No, these just kill me. I had to shuffle that. I had to take the Brainstorm. Okay, I punted. I thought I was being clever and I'd be able to stifle the Rootwalla and like stifle one of them, kill the other. But I'm at 1. That line works if I'm at 2. All right, I just fucked up. I needed to... I think what I'm supposed to do there is take the Brainstorm, then cast the Brainstorm and try to convert some of my cards. Like, take the Guaranteed Plow, but then I see 2 new cards. Or 1 new card. Yeah, I blew it. GG. Plow. And they don't even have to do the thing. Oh, that was sucked. We worked so hard and played so tight and then just yeeted it over 1 life point at the end. And the Brainstorm would have found Prismatic Ending. Yikes. This was a good example, like learning opportunity here. This was a good example of keeping track of so much and trying to do so much and treading water so hard and losing track of 1 critical resource, which is the life. 2 life. This line works. Next turn I draw Brainstorm, I have Prismatic Ending, and I don't know if we're stable because they play Poxwalker this turn. And maybe we lose to the Poxwalker next turn anyway, because these would be the cards I'd be looking at. Like I would have cast Plow and Ending, and then Force, Surgical, Stifle are the cards I have to play the game with. And versus the 3-power creature, we probably lose this game anyway, but that hurt. Just bad play. On to the next round. Introducing Club GG, the mobile platform that lets you create your own poker clubs and play with your friends anywhere. Creating your own club is easy. Just download the app, set up your club, and invite your friends. But that's not all. With a Club GG membership from just $9.99 per month, you can win prizes weekly with over $200,000 in prizes being awarded each month. You could win millions just by playing on Club GG, so what are you waiting for? Download Club GG today and start playing with your friends. Subscribe using code BOSH for a free 7-day membership. Visit us at clubgg.net. I'm on the draw for round 4. A no-lander's gotta get sent. I will keep this one and send Supreme Verdict away. That's a later card. Blue to Delta. Back to basics. Okay, maybe it's your time. No lands here, but a redundant Stoneforge Mystic. If Stoneforge resolves next turn, I do get a shuffle. If it doesn't, I can play another one on the following turn. I'm just going to shuffle this. I'd rather have lands. I have 2 3-drop Planeswalkers in my hand. There's a Stifle looking at a uncracked Polluted Delta. Okay, it's still uncracked. We got away with it. Caldra's in my hand. Hate that. I could try to play Stoneforge Mystic and do something, or I can hold up this Stifle. I think I want a Stifle. Wasteland, played around it. We're playing against some sort of scam strat. Come on, land. Brainstorm. This is a card that I would like if they weren't very obviously an Orcish Bowmaster deck. Well, I've already missed one land drop. Let's pass and see what happens. If they get antsy and cast their Bowmaster, I could Brainstorm over top of it. If they are a 2-color deck and I just stifle them off one of those colors, that could be a route to victory here, or at least to catching up. Okay, now they've missed a land drop, and this means they can't daze me because they no longer have blue available. This looks like a great spot to... I could shove to Fairy here. I could get the Stoneforge going. I want Stoneforge. That's what I'm doing. This thing is resilient to Bowmaster in a way that none of the other cards that I could get are. I have plenty to do on 3 mana, so I'm just going to get Batterskull and rock with that. Fatal Push. All right, you're dead. There was a window there to Brainstorm when they were tapped out of Bowmaster, and they found the blue source now. Ugh. All right, we're back to having to maybe play a real game. We have at least gotten this far in the process. I could lead on to Fairy, kind of make it a now or never situation. I could play Narset and try to dig. I could test them with Back to Basics, see if that's a card they care about. Yeah, I'm going to play Back to Basics here. If they could just fetch a basic island and play around this, it doesn't matter. Brainstorming in response, okay. This is at least kind of a potentially impactful card that I could put on the stack, knowing that their hand is 6 spells. Bowmaster confirmed, and they tapped their Wasteland to put it in. Okay, we actually got a land off of that somehow. I didn't think that was going to happen. Ponder. And we were correct to play around Bowmasters. I wish I had Brainstormed when they Fatal Pushed. That was an opportunity to turn these Batterskulls and Cauldras into real cards. At least temporarily. Ponder chose to shuffle. Underground Sea, another reasonable hit for Back to Basics. Getting griefed, pitching Shouldered's Edict. All right, well, they get to see that I have nothing going on here. If they have a Entomb Reanimate, I imagine they take Narset here. To Fairy, okay. That's gone. Reanimating Grief. Do you want March or Narset? March, okay. This is kind of indicative that they have a Daze in their hand, but drawing land is the best thing I could do anyway to cast Batterskull. Cool. All right, playing around Daze. Narset. Dig, come on, Plow. Oh, Supreme Verdict, even better. Bam, that's right in my hand. Let's go. They probably spend this turn clearing Narset with the Grief, and then they can either discard me or lose their board next turn. They are a reanimate deck, so losing their board's not the end of the world. They certainly can't add to the board here unless it's with a Grief. Their Ponder shuffled, then they didn't make a play. Stoneforge Mystic's a nice follow-up, actually. I will cast the Supreme Verdict, and then pass the turn, see what they got. These 2 basics are doing a lot of work. Reanimating Grief. All right, I probably lose Stoneforge here. That would be my guess. Unless they have a Snuff Out, or Fatal Push, or whatever. I guess they could take Batterskull, and then the danger of Stoneforge is a lot lower, and ripping a land doesn't just put Batterskull into play anyway. They did take Batterskull. Okay, multiple Brainstorms in my hand. I'm going to cast the Stoneforge. I don't think I can afford to Brainstorm into a possible Bowmaster here that's just too devastating. Meanwhile, I actually can do stuff if the Stoneforge Mystic stays in play for a turn. Cauldra ends this game right quick. Brainstorm from you. I don't like the effect that Orcish Bowmaster is having on this game right now. Another non-basic. If they ever tap those, they're gone. But currently this Back to Basics has locked down a Wasteland. It's hard to know if it's actually done anything or not, because maybe they have spells in their hand that they just wouldn't want to cast. Okay. Cauldra, get in there. Do they have a Shieldred's Edict or a Brazen Borrower? If they Brazen Borrow, I can Brainstorm in response because they will be tapped out. Shieldred's Edict, same story. Or they could just take 5. I am just going to pass here. It's their job to do anything. And if I can brainstorm into a force or a plow, I'm going to feel really good about the game. That is, if I have to do anything at all. They continue to attack. They're not in chump block mode yet. They must have some ability to do something. Passing the turn. Another Stoneforge. I will attack with Cauldra. Orcish Bowmaster is the A play. They can block and go to 1. If I brainstorm in response and they have another Bowmaster, I lose so hard. Yeah, I'm just going to let this happen. So I have to block with Orc Army. I go to 6. You go to 1. And then I'm going to play Stoneforge and leave up the ability to forge in the Cryptic Coat. I can trade with Menace creatures here while adding to the board. 3 cards left in their hand. They can't Force of Will anymore. At 1 life. Daze. If I fetch to 5, what happens? I'm going to fetch first and see if they have a Stifle. They don't. Okay. I will pay for this thing. I wonder if they have multiple dazes. Okay, nope. Just not cashing in. I'm out of weapons, and I'll pass. At 1 point might matter. Another Bowmaster. I go to 4. They attack 1, 2, 3. Double block Grief. I'm at 1. Okay, that happens. I was right not to brainstorm up to this point, and their days stopped me from brainstorming now if I want to have an emergency second creature. Back to Basics has finally locked up the board. If they could kill this Stoneforge Mystic, I lose. Everything's attacking. Block, double block Grief, then put in the Cryptic Coat, and I go to 1. And they're dead on the backswing. Okay. Moment of truth. Can you deal 1? Do you have the 4th Bowmaster? Wow, okay. So literally any turn of that game where I cast Brainstorm, other than the spot where they tapped low on that Fatal Push, that was my only shot to cast Brainstorm. And if I had cast any of these Brainstorms this game, I would have lost to one of these 3 Bowmasters. Despite missing onboard lethal last round, I feel very good about how that game was played. I like Unlicensed Hearse well enough versus the Scam plan, and they probably have Murktides in their deck. I don't love Surgical Extraction. I do love Supreme Verdict. Lavinia is interesting, but probably not. Dress Down's interesting, but probably not. I think I want to cut all my Force of Wills. I didn't see the actual Reanimator half of the deck. Back to Basics. Like, it was in play. It did lock down that Wasteland. It's hard to know how much it actually did, how many spells they didn't cast. Like, were there turns they could have pondered twice, but didn't because they didn't want to lose an Underground Sea. The visible effect on that game was pretty negligible. I think I want 1 Surgical over 1 Back to Basics, and I'll leave the other one in. Then I have a bunch of white removal and now some Graveyard Hate. Dress Down did make the cut. Just knocking Menace off of a Grief or whatever seems good enough to me. Well, Island Ponder Keep. If I find a basic Blades, this hand is gas. If they Grief me and take my Ponder, I'm in trouble. Deck. Unlicensed Hearse, Ponder, show me that basic Plains. That's all I need from you right now. Oh no, the basic Mountain and 2 Brainstorms. Basic Mountain casts Unlicensed Hearse. Normally I would trust this, except we're against a dedicated Bowmaster strategy. I'm going to take my shuffle here. I need white. I shuffled and drew the Mountain again. Motobug. Okay, well, they cycled Troll. Let's see if they get a basic. Oh, they have a Bayou suddenly. Is this Bug Scam? And they have simply passed the turn. Okay, white mana unlocked. I could play Unlicensed Hearse. We know they play Daze, and that's a powerful spell in my deck. Yeah, I'm going to play the Hearse. That makes half their deck so much worse. And if they Daze it, it's fine. That means they're not Bowmastering this turn. We're in there. Bowmaster confirmed. Luckily, my hand does not play into this card at all. Just 2 pair over here. All of it Resilient versus Bowmaster. Though it is gated on my single white source. Basic land mana base, giveth and taketh away. Now seeing that they're a 3-color deck makes it extra wild that they played on those 2 basics for so long last game. I'll take that Troll, please. Batterskull, great. Alright, well, I better cast one of these things before I draw my last equipment I can tutor. Cryptic Coat's in my hand now. I don't expect this thing to survive. Brainstorm, I'm jealous. You both have one of those and it's safe to cast it. Unreal. And they didn't shuffle the Brainstorm either. They just like every card they can see. Everyone is perfect. 4 mana. This looks like a Grief, probably. Yep. Well, this is what my hand is. They did not kill Stoneforge Mystic. Not yet. They could still snuff it out, I guess, but this combat doesn't go anywhere, and I still get a weapon to put into play. They took the Cauldron. Alright, they're afraid of a race. Nice. Good news. End step. Eat your graveyard. That keeps Murktides and Uros under control. Now that I see you're a bug deck, much more interested in that. Cool. Now I can Swords to Plowshares and do something else. I'm going to fetch now. Get the other white. Plow Grief. Let's just get rid of that. The Bowmaster is also annoying, but that can be a problem for later. I'm going to try to get Batterskull going this turn. Okay, no attack, no action. Put in the Skull. See what answer they have to this thing. Force of Vigor. Alright, yeah, that's a good answer. See you later. Okay, those are gone. Tundra. I am out of weapons to search for, but I can redeploy this one. I'm gonna Stoneforge in the Cryptic Coat, holding up extra mana. Prismatic Vista's under there. Here's Tundra. I'm just gonna pass. If they Wasteland me, I'll use the Wasteland to plow the Bowmaster. If they don't think that's important, I could just keep my land and my plow. I'm currently winning if nothing changes. Pernicious Deed, that's a big change. The good news is, if they want to kill my shit, they also have to kill their shit, and my shit can protect itself. Attack. Take your 3. Prismatic Vista. I can pick up Coat, put Coat back down, and still protect Coat here. And the way to do that is activate Stoneforge Mystic, hold priority, in response bounce Cryptic Coat. It picks back up, and then comes back down. This plays around removal on the Stoneforge Mystic. That's an island under there. I'm going to fetch now, so I can protect Cryptic Coat. Probably should have fetched before I started any of this sequence, because now if they stifle, son of a shit. God damn it. I said the thing, I knew it was there, and still just played into it. Every little thing matters. If I just fetch first before I even start that sequence, now my ass is out, and the board's going to be clear, and I have no real win cons left in my deck. Yeah, they can just attack recklessly because it doesn't matter. I have to win with Jace the Mind Sculptor now, or Snapcaster Mage. And those are fine, I guess, but drawing all of my weapons into multiple discard spells was tough. And not playing around Stifle like a dingus was also tough. Yeah, literally if I just fetch first. I guess they could Stifle the code activation and it still works. We might end up in the same place there. If I just don't get cute and try to add another thing, I could bounce Cryptic Code twice in response. And then the Stifle doesn't matter. Yeah, I think I was just supposed to leave up mana. Now they're on the Wasteland strat. 1 blue. Get in there, Stoneforge Mystic. You got 19 damage to deal. All by your lonesome. Yeah, I got itchy. If you just chill, there's a lot of bad stuff that can't actually happen to you. Oh, they have 2 Bowmasters, good. Or with a Boom Command. Those are the plays here. Second Bowmaster, alright. Well, I can answer both of the Bowmasters at least. So there's still a 2/2 Orc army around. And this is going to take all the cards in my hand to get control of. Okay, cool. Well, the board is stable. I'm not going to play my March yet. I can do that anytime, and if they do commit a Thoughtseize or Grief to the situation, I can dance around it. Or I can save this for Uro. Ugh. What a bad card for them to have right now. Alright, well, I'm taking 2 from Orc Army, so I have some chance of clearing Uro in the future. I can't cast a Jace even if I draw it. Fairy Time Raveler, one of my best draws, that can clear the Orc Army, and then I have a permanent play that's actually good. Swords to Plowshares. Alright, well, I have answers to Uro now. 2 of them. Carpet of Flowers, okay. Luckily, I only have 1 island, so who cares? I could exile this carpet in combat, but I don't think that's the axis where the game's actually being won or lost. I'm going to start with Swords to Plowshares because I don't want Days to suddenly be relevant in this game where it's not relevant. And then if they do Force of Will this, I'll have a chance to exile it again on my turn. They do a Force of Will, that's fine. If I draw a land, I'm not worried about Days. They have one card in their hand. It has to be Daze to save Uro here. Spell Pierce. All right, well, embarrassing, but Uro, can we get rid of you, please? Please don't have Daze. Cool. Uro's gone. Still facing down this Orc army. Undercity Sewers gets some selection in the end step. They've got a Ponder. I can't cast Narset or Jace even if I draw them. I need Teferi. Teferi really is the thing that could play the game for me here. Stability plus onboard things they have to think about. They did not shuffle. The re-Uro. Okay, they're Bug Scam, and they have a crap ton of non-basics. I'm going to bring in the other back to basics for game 3. On Teferi. Flooded Strand. Well, at least I have mana if I draw Narset or Jace. You can play another Uro here. Exactly enough cards in the graveyard to exile to escape that. And I'd still take a Teferi here. I'm not too proud. And even though I am trying to draw some action here, I'm not going to crack this fetch land because Ponder or Brainstorm make the fetch land really good. Grief. There is a Supreme Verdict in my deck. There's 2 of them, actually. And I could Ponder or Brainstorm into them. Come on, deck. Spell Pierce, you asshole. All right. Okay. I messed that game up by getting too cute, too itchy with my Cryptic coat. If I had just left up 4 mana, I think I win that game. Okay. Batterskull, Cauldra, all the removal. I think 2 hearses and a surgical still feels right, knowing what they are. I think Dress Down can go in favor of this other back to basics. The red Elemental Blast is worth considering. I see Uro. I don't know if this deck is going to have Murktide in it. I've seen Bug Scam lists kicking around. I just don't have them fully committed to memory at this point. If the game drags and they're playing Carpet of Flowers, I don't know if I could rely on Spell Pierce either. Okay, yeah, I'll flip to the red. A no-lander. Tough. Got a mulligan. Okay, I will keep this and put Supreme Verdict back into my deck. And I know they are a deck that plays Stifle. I'm just going to fetch a basic Plains right now. Underground Sea. Slamming on Licensed Hearse. They may or may not even have Daze in their deck. It's game 3 against a grindy control deck, and they're on the draw. Yeah, let's get in there. I could have exiled my Prismatic Vista there. Maybe I'm supposed to. If I shove back to basics right now, Force of Vigor is just live as possible. I think I want to try to catch them. Speaking of catching them, Brainstorm, when they can't Bowmaster me. First one in the whole match. I like the Stoneforge Mystic. I'm going to put back Flooded Strand, Stoneforge Mystic in that order so they can't grief a Stoneforge out of me. We got Tropical Island. There it is. Exile that Lorien revealed. And now I'm just going to start testing their interaction. I would like to drop this back to basics in a mid-game situation where their lands are all tapped. And I do want to get Coat here. I don't really want that to get discarded, but between playing around discard and every removal spell on Earth hitting Stoneforge, I'm just going to take the one that might do something. Sheoldred's Edict, you're out of here. That's fine. I got the castable one. Brainstorm. Troll of Khazad-dûm cycled. Lots of food for my car. There's a Bayou. End step, eat the Troll and the Brainstorm, I guess. I don't know if the spell actually matters. They both make Murktide bigger. Okay, having land number 5 here actually matters a lot. I do have 1 red card in my deck, and I have Prismatic Ending in my hand. I'm going to fetch all of my lands right now to play around Stifle, and I'm going to cast Cryptic Coat. All right, they just had Force of Will, sure. Pitching Stifle, got him. Okay, passing the turn. 5 mana. Plenty to cast a Force of Vigor if they have one. Eat 2 cards from their graveyard. Ooh, backup car. Vroom, vroom. I am going to play my backup car. No, I'm not. What would I rather do here? I think I want to snap Brainstorm. I'm pretty worried about Orcish Bowmaster. As always. Yeah, I'm just not going to do anything. I will eat 2 lands from my graveyard, though, to make this hearse bigger. Surgical. This is a lot of graveyard interaction. Okay, I will just shove this back to basics. If we're worried about exposure to Force of Vigor, like, this is not going to have a better spot to happen. They will have that card at some point or they won't. They can fetch Swamp Island right now, though, with the 2 fetches they had up. Maybe I was supposed to pick a fight with Snapcaster first. They saw Spell Pierce last game. If they try to hardcast Force of Vigor and miss, it's really bad for them. But I don't have Spell Pierce in my hand right now, which makes this worse. They fetch. The basics are here. And they do have the stupid freaking thing. Yep. Okay. That's fine. Mostly fine. We'll make it work. I have more of both of those cards in my deck. I have the second Hearse in my hand actively. If they think the coast is clear and just jam an Uro now, I can slurp it up. Grief. Hate that. They probably take Snapcaster here. That's what I would take. Because none of my other cards answer this grief. Or do anything. Unless they're worried about the long-term implications of a Hearse. But having the Surgical as well means that they're not getting an Uro anyway. I would take Snapcaster. Okay, they took Hearse. This is an opportunity for me to snap Brainstorm or resolve Jace the Mind Sculptor. I am going to snap Brainstorm right now while they cannot Bowmaster it. Prismatic Ending, more things that don't kill Grief. Put back Tundra and float Jace on top. I really don't want that to get stripped. And I will pass. Ponder. Did not shuffle. Can't block Grief. And I'm going to draw Jace. And I don't like doing this, and I don't recommend it, but I am going to Surgical Extract their Ponders. Because I want to see their hand and see if Jace is going to get me anywhere. Or if they're just going to Bowmaster or force me immediately. Okay. They do have Bowmaster in hand, which means Jace sucks. There's no Plow in my graveyard. I haven't seen one of those the whole game. Even if I Jace bounce Grief, that doesn't keep Jace in play for a turn. This deck is awesome. I strongly considered something like this for SCG Con Philly. That is coming up for me, but will have passed for you by the time you see this. All right, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, even if I Jace and plus, they can ping Snapcaster with Bowmaster. Right, I'm going to try to attack and see if they want to just pick off this Snapcaster. It'd be super unnecessarily aggressive, but technically legal. Yeah, they just have me completely beat here. I need to draw Swords to Plowshares, or they need to play their Bowmaster where I can answer it at sorcery speed. Okay. They did that. Let's see if this gets me anywhere. I take a bunch of damage. I am dead on board. Nope, I'm one short of dead on board. Now I'm dead on board. And they reanimate my Snapcaster. They're going to try to Brainstorm and pull ahead here. Supreme Verdict punishes this hyper-aggressive Brainstorm. Or hyper-aggressive Reanimate. But being able to Brainstorm here means that they could even find and hardcast another Grief and just put me on Supreme Verdict or die. Force of Will's insane here. They have a lot of good draws. And I have to fetch because I'm drawing Tundra. End step fetch. Get a basic island. Come on deck, Supreme Verdict. No other card. Swords to Plowshares. Well, maybe that card. If I Plow Grief, Prismatic Ending, Bowmaster, and Plow Grief, I go to 2, and then Jace can bounce Snapcaster, and I can Snap Plow. Alright, fingers crossed. Gotta find those lines. I am dead to Orcish Bowmaster. It's worth the 2 damage. Right now, that is on board. Okay, I'm at 2. Getting griefed. Goodbye, Jace. Okay, well, that's gone. Maybe they won't see the line, and they'll just take Prismatic Ending. I'm also a mana short of Snap Plowing anyway. Alright, we're back to Supreme Verdict. Supreme Verdict? Red Blast. Okay, we're dead. Yeah, this was a serious case of 2019 Magic trying to play against 2024 Magic. Grief, Force of Vigor, Orcish Bowmasters versus War of the Spark Planeswalkers and 1-for-1 removal. Back to basics also, like even against a deck that they played the entirety of game 2 without a single basic land in play. They had like 6 non-basic lands in play, and back to basics was still not remotely relevant. I even had one in play, and it just died immediately and took one of my other permanents with it. Modern day Stoneforge gamers need to solve for this. This is the biggest gap in this archetype right now, and the general blue-white X Island Ponder Keep gaming. It just doesn't keep up to the current card pool anymore. And if your opponent is playing a bunch of different cards that are all busted in the same pile, like these bug decks, you're in trouble. On to the final round.
The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through Coalesce Apparel. This Magic player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. Coalesce is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order only at coalesceapparel.shop.
I'm on the play in the final round. We're not fending off a reverse trophy. We did get a win already. Playing for a second win here. The half your money back guarantee. This Arid Mesa has to get Tundra. I'm just going to hope that they're a matchup that cannot punish that. Island. Ponder. I'm not going to Spell Pierce that. Spell Pierce is a nice pitch to Force of Will, or if I actually resolve the Stoneforge, we get to do stuff. Try to tempo them out. They did not shuffle. Okay, I could get... I'm still just going to get Tundra and save the basic for later. I just don't want to have two basic planes this early, because my blue mana is important. Force of Will pitching Lorien Revealed. Force of Will pitching Supreme Verdict. I think Spell Pierce will have more value if they're a Island Ponder, Lorien Revealed, Force, Stoneforge kind of gamer. Take the Cryptic Coat. Already have the Cauldra if this thing survives the turn cycle, and decks generally don't Force of Will Stoneforge Mystic if they're holding Swords to Plowshares. This could still be a combo deck. This could be Show and Tell. That's a deck that would choose to Force of Will over try to have a removal spell. Misty Rainforest. Another island. Well, Back to Basics is coming out. I am going to Cauldra and protect it with Spell Pierce. That's the plan. Just got to connect a few times here. In you go. They're on a 3-turn clock starting next turn. If I add Cryptic Coat, they go to 8, then dead exactly. So they're actually on a 2-turn clock with what they know about. Okay. Flooded Strand. Just more cantrips, more... Are we seeing Basic Island? I wonder if we're playing against High Tide. This is a lot of Basic Islands, like, in unreasonable number. And they scooped it. Okay. I think this is High Tide. I'm going to sideboard appropriately. Goodbye Back to Basics. Lavinia's in. I'll make piles. Lavinia, Damping Sphere. Supreme Verdict's out. Back to Basics out. Prismatic Ending and March of Otherworldly Light are out. Or Swords of Plowshares might be even worse than those. We'll see where we end up here. Red Blast in. Not a lot to bring in, actually. Narset's very good. Force very good. All these Hate Rocks and Hate Bears very good. I don't really believe in Surgical Extraction here, but I think it's better than Swords to Plowshares. I'll leave in March and Prismatic Ending in case they have Defense Grid or Candelabra of Tawnos or something like that. And otherwise, just bring in this pile, take out all my white removal, and Back to Basics. I know it's just a 5-round sampling, and some people's local metas are different than the online meta and everything, but Back to Basics has not passed my sniff test in this league so far. I will keep this hand with Damping Sphere. I suspect that's very good against their deck, even though we're not totally sure what they're doing yet. I'm pretty sure it's a combo deck. The amount of cantripping they did, 3 basic islands in a deck, that's a lot. Too many. Suspicious number. Only I'm allowed to play that many basic islands. Stoneforge is a nice follow-up here. I think I lead on Lavinia, because she's the one that turns off Force of Will if she resolves, which means they have to force her, and then if Damping Sphere resolves, that's actually the more disruptive permanent if they are High Tide. But High Tide can also play a large quantity of Dress Downs to turn off any number of creatures in the end step and then turn around and win. Okay, Lavinia's in and got Petty Thefted immediately. Okay. They mulled to 6. Let's see if they have a turn 3 Goldfish. Wasteland. Uh-oh. I've been deceived. Cryptic Coat. All right. I was lied to. This is not a combo deck. I don't know what's going on anymore. Or they juked me. One or the other. I could have fetched Basic here, but I was just so sure that they were a deck that didn't care about that. Or, yeah, okay. Well, I've been tricked. I wonder if this is Mono Blue Dreadnought. That is a deck that has existed previously. It's a deck that would play Wasteland. It's a deck that would play Cryptic Coat. Feeling pretty embarrassed to have this Tundra in play right now, not gonna lie. Pithing Needle, naming Stoneforge Mystic. Wasting me off white, bad news. And here comes this. Is it gonna flip into a 12-12? Nope, not yet. Always had it. And Narset just dies, Teferi just dies. Teferi at least draws a card. Cryptic Coat can get a race going. Ward 2 on these cloaked creatures is pretty powerful. I could bounce the Cryptic Coat itself, but then they can bounce it in response and fizzle my draw. They just have that covered. I'm going to play Teferi. I would kind of love for them to Force of Will this, because Teferi actually sucks here. It just bounces Pithing Needle, draws a card, and then dies in combat. However, if I get 2 cards out of their hand, that's a good deal on this loser. I could also plus Teferi and try to set up a cool thing for next turn. I don't know what that would even be, because Teferi's taking 3 unblockable damage. Would I rather draw a card or have Teferi in play? I'm going to choose to have Teferi in play. And I'll attack with Stoneforge Mystic, get my beats in. That's not an activated ability. Teferi's getting pounded. I did make it to land number 4. Now I have Jace available. 2 Planeswalkers doing stuff. I might be able to overwhelm them with Planeswalkers. Okay, they're tapping mana, but I have Teferi in play. They have Stifle in their hand. Okay. Narset just dies. Jace can at least plus and get some card selection out of the deal. Plus target me. I would rather Scry than Fate Seal on this board. Brainstorm? Are you good? I'll keep a Brainstorm. I'm sitting on this Cauldron that's not doing a whole lot. Stoneforge Mystic. Attack. Now they can clear Teferi and let me have a turn with Jace. But they could stifle the Jace activation. Oh, they bounced their Cloak. Now they can't clear Teferi because this is a 2-2. Interesting. Yeah, Teferi survives at 1 unless this is a creature that flips. And now I have Jace with the Teferi bubble up versus some blue mirror. Okay, it's been a whole league and Jace hasn't happened yet. It might be time. Brainstorm with Jace. No lands anywhere. I could at least put this Damping Sphere back. And Cauldron? Do I get rid of Cauldron? Yeah, probably if I'm just not drawing any lands. I could put back Lavinia and Cloak her, but that doesn't really do anything. Put back Cauldron and Damping Sphere. And then I'm going to Cloak the Damping Sphere because that card sucks. That's the best we're going to get out of that. And Brainstorm sees 2 new cards. I'd still like to find a land this turn. Impossible. Put back Cauldron and Damping Sphere again. Plus Teferi. And I'm going to leave back Stoneforge Mystic. Oh, I can't really attack into their stuff anyway. I have Force of Will. That's a good one. Alright, well, let's see if I could get another turn of Jacing, because that one did not go that well, all things considered, despite seeing a lot of cards. They haven't cantripped or anything. If this is a Phyrexian Dreadnought, it's just because it's there. Or, yeah, alright. I can trade because this is now blockable, and I'm fine with my Damping Sphere dying. Embarrassing that that's in the deck at all. Please die, Damping Sphere. And they kind of telegraphed Stifle a few turns ago, which could be used on a Jace activation here. That's fine. I'm going to send it. Found a land. Damping Sphere sucks. Second Lavinia sucks. First Lavinia sucks. Land. Fetch. Yeah, here's the Stifle. I've decided how I want to deal with this. I could force it, pitching Lavinia. I could save my force and just work through this with Jace in play. I can clear these cards with Narset. I'm going to do that. Get in there, Narset. Move these cards around. Activate. Take a fresh Teferi. And all I can do here is pass the turn. Oh, I can attack. All right. You're not blocking. You might as well get in. And I am going to force this Brazen Borrower. First, I'm going to Surgical Extract their Lorien Revealeds. I just have all these embarrassing cards in my deck because I thought they were something else. And I'm going to try to use them to check what's going on. Okay, there's an Uro in their deck. So Surgical wasn't that embarrassing, but now it's pointed at the wrong thing. Force, pitching, Spell Pierce. They have so much freaking mana, it just doesn't matter. Okay. Dress Down, Daze, Stifle, Wasteland, Cryptic Coat. Phyrexian Dreadnought's in this deck somewhere, and all my Swords to Plowshares are in the sideboard. It would be a miracle to get away with this. Clearing Narset, that's fine. A fetch land. What a delight. I can also Teferi and bounce the cloaked creature. I can pay the ward here. I'm going to lead on Teferi, and if they want to daze it, I'll just pay the 1. If they don't, I'll hit them with my surprise land drop. Oh wow, we suddenly have Force of Will. Alright, well, good draw. Alright, Force pitching Daze. Teferi's out of here. Uro Dress Down is their hand. Okay. I found Red Blast that can answer Cryptic Coat if they ever tap low enough. I found lands 5 and 6. Alright, Caldra's going back, and land number 5's going back. I think this can only fetch Volcanic Island and Basic Mountain at this point. Yep, and there's a Wasteland in play, so I'm going to get Mountain. Can't play Lavinia here. I can pick up Cryptic Coat. I can also attack, because I can't block. If they pick up their coat, I'm going to Red Blast it on the way back down. Cool. All right. Begin the stabilization process. Ponder. Oh no. It's so good. Cryptic Coat. Red Blast. Counter target blue spell. Let's break this parity. I have Jace and Cryptic Coat now to your 2-2. That, as far as we can tell, is not a Phyrexian Dreadnought, or I should be dead. They're going face. Don't like that, but makes sense if they can't kill the Jace. I wonder if I'm supposed to bounce this ward creature. I'm going to Ponder first and see if a different option comes up. Ponder, hit Spell Pierce in a land, another Ponder. I'm going to shuffle this. I kind of want a Prismatic Ending. Those are still in here. If this is Phyrexian Dreadnought, I would feel very stupid for not bouncing it. Okay, I'm going to Brainstorm with Jace. Let's go. It's not Phyrexian Dreadnought. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Put back Volcanic Island and Flooded Strand. Then I can play Lavinia, play Scalding Tarn, and Ponder again. Damning Sphere. Get the hell out of here. Okay, I do want land number 7, but this Damning Sphere is so bad. I'm going to shuffle. Force of Will. That was a great pickup. Okay, I can trade Lavinia for this Cloak. If they find green, they can Dress Down and play the front half of Uro, and it stays in Uro. Brainstorm. They are moving to combat, and they're attacking me. I'm going to block with both of my creatures. If this is some flippy kill you shit, I'm dead. If it's not, I think we're stable. Okay, it was a Ponder. Good news. Another Ponder. Cracking a fetch. They can front half the Uro here. Get that train rolling. Uro is pretty bad versus Jace, because you have to cast it every turn, exiling your graveyard. It gets smaller. You do go up cards on that exchange, but Jace will eventually whittle it down. Lavinia. Brainstorm with Jace. Hey, the other surgical that shouldn't be in my deck. I'm going to put back Kaldra and Brainstorm. I cast Lavinia. Surgical Extract Uros. I go to 5, but that's a lot of pressure off. There is a Dreadnought and a Force of Will in the hand. 2 Uros. Confirmed Dreadnought deck. Slip out the back is interaction in here. Only 2 Cryptic Coats in the decks. Kind of surprising. And I can pick up the coat, or I can Ponder and shuffle away Brainstorm Kaldra. I still have hopes for Kaldra winning this game. And Jace is already a pretty hard answer to Phyrexian Dreadnought. You have to do a bunch of work to get that thing into play, and then it just gets bounced for 0 resources. Yeah, they seem to agree. Pick up the coat. Put it back in the closet. Brainstorm. Activate my Brainstorm with Jace. Damping Sphere. LOL. Still here. Kaldra, Damping Sphere, go back. Cryptic Coat. Please become another Damping Sphere. They're forcing that. I can force back. I think this is worth doing. I'm not worried about much else in their deck. This gets Damping Sphere out of here. Stoneforge Mystic can go get Batterskull. Or I could just grab the Kaldra I've been floating around. Yeah, I'll keep getting Kaldra. Ponder. Backup Jace, Stifle, Flooded Strand. I'm going to shuffle this. Flooded Strand anyway. Motobug. And attack. We're starting to flip the script here. I need for them to not draw their own coat. That card would be very good. Here's a Dress Down. If they play multiple Dreadnoughts, that's bad. Oh wow, were they really just cantripping here? Okay, cool. And they're not even bothering with the Dreadnought into the Jace. And I found one of the removal spells I left in my deck, which means I could exile the Pithing Needle, get in with Kaldra, or I could just save this and jam Kaldra. Oh, they can't force their days anyway. Yeah, I'm just going to jam Kaldra. There are still lands left that do this. I'm at 3. Do I need to worry about Brazen Borrower? Uh-oh, I do need to worry about Brazen Borrower. Did I just throw it? That would be so bad to lose right now to a Brazen Borrower. I'll get an island. I'm actually going to brainstorm with Jace, see if I can come up with a Force of Will or something that respects Brazen Bee. Stifle, Narset. None of these cards do that. Well, what can I do here? Like, they might just not have it and it's fine, but if they do have it, it's really bad. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm 1 short on damage. Guess I'll put back Flooded Strand and Stifle. I could Narset and dig, or I could just play my card and bash and hope they don't have exactly Brazen Borrower. Okay, that fetch may have killed me, and I could have played around it. Dress Down, okay, that's fine. Okay, I am glad that it ended like that instead of anything else. Dress Down knocks the haste off of Kaldra, that's a timestamp thing. So now instead of at 1, they're at 6, and they have drawn a fresh card. Okay. Opened up unnecessary risk on that one. Brainstorm. I don't know how they could win from here. I did look at their deck recently with Surgical Extraction, and could probably deduce it if I remembered what was in there. If they Dress Down and play 3 Dreadnoughts, that's the most they could play this turn. I think I still beat that, though. I bounce 1, exile 1. 1 has to jangle with Kaldra, and I still have 5 unblockable creatures. They said they were trying to find Slip out the back. Okay, yeah, that makes sense versus Jace. Too late now, though. GG's, opponent. And we finished the league with a 2-3 record. Yeah, my assessment of this is basically what I narrated as we went through. I think I was right about Back to Basics. It was boarded out many times because it just didn't line up right, which meant it was 2 main deck dead slots. Even in the matchup where we did keep it in, I resolved it and it didn't do enough or really anything. I would have preferred it was another Cryptic code or something to pressure my opponent with. Jace versus Bowmasters, so bad. Like that game versus Scam where they had stuff going on and I drew Jace. Normally, like, oh, hell yeah, here's Jace. Now we get to start grinding and stabilize, but then I checked their hand and they had Bowmaster in it and I just couldn't even use my Jace. That is tough. You need tons of answers to Bowmaster, or you need a plan that can proactively ignore it. And Stoneforge does help in that regard, but I want more. Just give me 2 or 3 Cryptic codes even, and let me just always be casting something that can bash past the Bowmaster and make the hold up 2 mana Black Mage feel silly. That's what I want in this format right now, and this build doesn't quite do that, but I think it is close. I think if you make Back to Basics a sideboard card, a 1 of, if you have to play 2, fine, but I think a sideboard 1 of is right. And then that also turns one of your basic islands into another Tundra, and then your mana's better against non-Wasteland decks, because we also just color screwed ourselves multiple times this league by having 1 plains and 3 white cards in hand, which comes with the Back to Basics mana base. If you do that, you probably rearrange the fetches a little bit too. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave that. I like Stoneforge Mystic. I like Narset a lot. Teferi's good. I like Cryptic Coat. I'm even trying my hardest to warm up to Jace. Don't like Back to Basics. I don't think Stifle works here. Spell Pierce is good if you're on the Stoneforge plan and bad if you're on the Grind plan, because at some point they're just going to have 6 mana and this card is a blank. Definitely some room for improvement, but the shell is tight. and strong. First Revenge, thank you for sharing this with me. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.